Leonard Williams goes to Seattle in exchange for a second-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round pick. The Giants acquire a pretty good chunk of draft capital in exchange for their star defensive tackle. For the Giants, I love this trade. They probably weren't going to get him back anyway this offseason. He's at the end of a 3-year, $63 million contract. So you're able to get this haul for him right before the trade deadline, really. What was it? He was traded on Monday, right? I think Monday afternoon. So the Giants walk away winners here. And then Seattle, I also like the move for them because they're not going to have to pay actually that much of his current contract. I believe the Giants are picking up quite a bit of the salary. They're just going to have to pay the vet minimum.
Basically all of it.
Yeah. So Seattle,
like $9 million.
Right now, they're fifth in the NFL with 26 sacks. Pressure rate 12th in the NFL. And they bring in Leonard Williams, who is having a great season. His 22 pressures this year would rank second on the team. Does rank second on the team currently. It feels like it's a very aggressive move. We mentioned it at the top of the show. The NFC is about the trenches, and they improved there once again. You have to go against those great offensive lines, including San Francisco. Do you actually believe that they're a contender, though? A legit Super Bowl contender sitting at 5-2?
I wouldn't say that, but I think it's a good move in the sense, or it made sense now because this is a team who, for the most part, was pretty much just gashed on the ground as well by Cleveland. They average almost about 4 yards a carry, 160 yards. And you can never be, like I said before about San Francisco, too strong up there, up front. But back to the Super Bowl question, I just think they're going to have to go on the road in the playoffs because San Fran will win that division when all is said and done. I'll go back on my initial prediction with the Seahawks earlier in the year. And I don't see them winning at a place like
You're going back on your Seattle prediction right now, even though 8 weeks into the season.
Yeah, I'm going back.
They are leading the NFC West.
I'm going back.
Now's the time for you to double down. San Francisco's in disarray. Seattle's 5-2.
And they're still just half a game up.
Yeah, but
so
why would you back down now?
San Fran's better.
They are, but I feel like you should stick to that until you're wrong.
Most likely, gun to my head, I say San Fran wins that division. So Seattle will
coward, man.
So I know. So Seattle will go on the road and probably can't do it. If they need a home game, they need to win the division.
Ziggy, are the Seahawks Super Bowl contenders?
This trade is just mysterious to me. Remember, Leonard Williams was traded last year in a contract year, or 4 years ago, in a contract year for a third and a fifth when he was 25. Now that he's 29, the Seahawks have somehow magically decided he's worth more than that and traded a second round pick. Maybe they're assuming he'll fetch them a third round compensatory pick, which is silly. But look, for this trade to be worth it, Leonard Williams needs to completely transform the defensive line, and the Seahawks need to make a deep playoff run. And I just have no reason to think he's that guy. He is like a solid role player who in a good situation can produce. And like he's an above average defensive lineman, but it's not like they're getting Aaron Donald here, right? They're not getting the kind of guy that transforms your defense. So it's tough for me to see this trade really working out for Seattle, right? Either they're going to give him a lucrative contract, which I think just makes this trade even more puzzling, or they let him walk, in which case, why are you trading a second round pick? I think considering the circumstances, the Giants did well. I don't think the Seahawks are real Super Bowl contenders. And thinking that you're one player away is always the wrong way to go. The 49ers are not one player away, which is exactly why it makes sense to go get one more player. Leonard Williams and Chase Young. Leonard Williams is just not the guy who's going to turn you from decent, sort of frisky team to Super Bowl champion. He's just not.
If you thought the Seahawks weren't a contender, like this is not much of a difference.
This doesn't change.
It doesn't change. Yeah, like we thought they were, and I guess they still are.
Does Chase Young going to San Francisco change your mind a lot more for the 49ers?
They still are regardless to me.
Oh no, they are, but that's a bigger impact than Leonard Williams going to Seattle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and you
for less draft capital.
And you gave up more if you're the Seahawks.
Like if I were to think Seahawks
fans are not going to be happy about this.
If I thought Seattle was a contender beforehand, that doesn't change things for me. I still don't think they are.
I don't think they're a contender. I think they're a good team. You said it perfect, Ziggy. They're a frisky team, but when all said and done, they're a wild card
team. They need the West. They need to win the West.
And we'll talk about the game they have this week against the Ravens in our prediction show.
Like they host San Francisco, which is huge. They still have that home game against them. I mean, you never know. I don't think they will.
Yeah, so because do you know what this trade reminds me a lot of? Actually, it reminds me of the Jamal Adams trade. If they don't get results immediately from him, it won't end up being a good trade, whether they extend him or let him walk. And after giving up this draft capital, it becomes a lot harder to negotiate with players because they know they have a little more leverage. I just don't think the results are coming this year. So even if it'll be a little bit less disastrous than the Jamal Adams situation, I don't think the outcome's going to be a whole lot better for them.
But nonetheless, if you're a Seattle fan, I guess you have to. The positive takeaway you have here is that your team's confident right now that they're at 5-2. You know, they're making a move, like they're going for it, and if it works out, we'll have to sit back here and give them credit for an aggressive move when a lot of other contenders did not go out there and make quite the same splash that they did.
They're my 2 seed preseason, I think.
Yeah, you should be holding on to that right now, 100%.
I'm not a huge fan.